All right, welcome to Kanpai Gaming's podcast. Our primary focus on this podcast is mostly obviously gaming news, with a sub-focus of anime and entertainment. And as we feel if it's necessary, we'll cover important current events. Take it away, Epics.
Yeah, today we're gonna be pretty much talking about the Nintendo Direct and the Pokemon Direct, and then we're gonna end it off with a little bit of Mario.
Very well. We cover popular topics as we break. Feel free to leave a comment if you want us to cover certain topics. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. So just to start, we're going to introduce ourselves. I'm Eggman. The reason I'm calling myself Eggman is because it's just the gamer tag that I've had since I was like 12. Uh, Never really changed it. It's my username for everything: Steam, Xbox, PSN, even on some of my off-brand games like Pokemon TCG. I do play a lot of Dota, so a lot of MOBAs, TCGs, and shooters. Mainly what I play. I tend to cover some platformers here and there, but generally Dota. Yeah.
Mobile guy. All right, take it away, Epics.
Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm Epic. Don't really know why I call myself that. Never been good at nicknames, so just came up with the easiest one. And you know what? I'm Epic, so there it is. I'm really into different kinds of games. Growing up, I was always like a mobile game, so I always played Pokemon and stuff like that. Lately, though, I've been really just focusing on first-person shooters, Call of Duty for life. But you know what? I truly miss Halo, and I can't wait for that game to come out.
Now, hold
Taco?
on, you got to clarify a little bit there, Epic. You said mobile gaming. You're gonna cause a
Oh,
riot over
like
here.
Call the
well,
right.
back then when I was a kid, mobile gaming was handheld devices. There was no cell phones like that. So if they get confused, that's on them and on me, I guess, because I should clarify. Especially nowadays, mobile means phone games, which I think are trash. Um,
Hot take.
but yeah.
All right.
Anyways, what about you, Taco? Tell us about
All
yourself.
right. My name is Taco. The name technically derives from both where I'm from and my actual real name. I'm from Osaka, Japan, so I'll be giving a lot of cultural, Japanese cultural views on certain topics and how they conduct their business. But aside from that, my favorite game genres are Metroidvania. I love Metroidvania games. I love Super Metroid. I love Symphony of the Night. And also one other great Metroidvania style game that I'm currently playing is Cyber Shadow. I grew up mostly with Nintendo, like all three of us. My first system was the Super NES. Um, and yeah, that's about it. That's about me mostly. Um,
Dude.
So
Speaking
we'll
of the
eventually
NES,
cover. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Epic.
speaking of the NES, dude, top game of all time from that. This has to be Goofy, the Goofy game.
the Goofy game.
Goofy game.
Goof
No,
Troop, that one,
The
that one.
Gooch. Gooch.
Yeah, dude.
YouTube game. What?
Yeah, one of the greatest games on that system.
All right.
I
Well, you
mean,
can go back to your Goofy States of America. I'll,
For those of you who don't know what the Goofy States of America are, it was a meme that was generated during the 2020 election by a YouTube channel called Internet Today. They did a live stream of the election, and someone pointed out that the state of Texas looks like Goofy. And so they photoshopped Goofy over the state of Texas, and it was the most cursed image I've seen of Goofy in my life. So, but then the internet just started making Goofy states out of the rest of the United States of America, and sure enough, by the end of the night, we had the what was it called? How do you call it? The
the
Goofy state.
Goofy States
The
of
Goofy states.
America or something. The United States of Goofy
It's
or,
nice
or
to say
whatever,
Goofy.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
All right.
so throughout most of our podcast, we're gonna share a little bit more about ourselves as we go, like where we're from and our backgrounds and stuff like that, and how we all grew up together and interacted with each other. But for our pilot episode, we're just gonna try to focus more on the content itself, with those little sprinkles here and there. So let's go
Okay.
ahead and start it off with the Nintendo Direct. So it was
So we're talking
highly
about the
hyped.
Nintendo Direct, the first Nintendo Direct that happened in February 18th. That's the one where they announced Pira and Mythra and Smash.
Yeah, there was only one Nintendo Direct. The other one was the Pokemon Direct.
Well, yeah, pretty much. But some people might get it confused, might not. Who knows? But just to clarify.
Okay.
So yeah, let's you know what? Take it away, Eggman.
Yeah. So we're not going to cover every game that was shown or teased on the Nintendo Direct. More so, just what we feel is relevant to talk about, or what we like, and what we feel might be a little controversial or um, of a hot take in terms of what we think about it. So Pyra, I guess since you already mentioned it, or Pyrrha, am I going to anger the weebs?
I don't know how would you pronounce it in either English, whatever. In Japanese, she's called Homuda for some reason. So like,
Well, you're the Japanese expert. Help us out.
Well, Homuda is the name. It usually is a name that's usually associated with fire or phoenix in Japan. So that's the reason why her name. Well, she's called Homuda in Japanese, and obviously it's a game made in Japan. So, but that's the thing about Nintendo, is that they tend to change up the names depending on their regions. So back to Pyrrha, at least they're in Smash. So what I think about this is I'm mostly indifferent about them being in Smash. I'm obviously most likely not going to use either of them. Though I do have to take away. I'm like, they're adding more Swords characters. I wouldn't say it feels excessive, but it's certainly becoming a noticeable trend in Smash. Especially the fact that they themselves acknowledge it when Bailiff was announced. Like the trailer was Sothis, and in both English and Japanese of the trailer, they're like, "Oh, there's too many swordsmen in Smash. Well, here you go." It's like that kind of tells us that they're very well aware of the criticisms that faces Smash, which the main one being is too many swordsmen. Like generally, like my opinion on that is I'm just indifferent on swordsmen being in Smash, but I'm just trying to add that Nintendo themselves are well aware of the criticisms. So, what do you guys think?
I honestly think that that's a dope ass character to bring in, just because it's essentially 2-in-1, kind of like the whole Zelda debacle where you can transform to Sheik, and it's a completely different playstyle. So in that sense, even though they are swordsmen, I guess you could say, um, there's some type of diversity to it as well, because you're not just learning one playstyle, you're learning two, and at the same time, if you can actually master that, you're gonna be one of the greatest Smash players in the world, no doubt. And then just to have to learn to counter that, it's gonna especially for pros, it's gonna be a whole new way of training. And then at the same time, any other like swordsman that you go against, even though their player style is different, it's gonna be a little bit easier for you to beat them. I'm not a fan of putting too many swordsmen, because I feel like there's so many diverse characters that they can really put into the game. But I don't hate this one that much. I'm actually a fan.
Mm-hmm.
If you had too many swordsmen in Smash, is it really even a Smash game anymore?
Right? You can literally make a fighting game with all the swords characters in there. There's 28 out of like there's like 20 something. There's so many.
Well, I don't know.
They're literally taking a knife to a gunfight.
So I don't necessarily mind another swordsman. I just don't want the same moveset. Like I don't like. We're lucky that this moveset probably has down B as a transform instead of counter, just like every other swordsman has. Every swordsman has counter as their down B. It's boring. And you can argue that Ike and Marth play a little different. They're heavy versus light, and all these other different types of movesets. But as long as it's not another carbon copy like Lucina or Corrin, I'll be fine with it. It's not like they will run out of sword characters, So they have an opportunity to be creative with their movesets a little bit, instead of just, oh, here's another Fire Emblem swordsman, or here's another Xenoblade. Like, I'm sure they can pick from another IP if they want. Even I don't care if it's a swordsman, just pick a different IP. We're lucky that this one was Xenoblade, which only had one representation in Smash with Shulk. But we'll see if it's worth picking up.
Mm-hmm. I mean, good for them, I guess. I'm just way too indifferent on this on Pyrrha Armita. I did play Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and a little bit of X, but yeah, I just kind of like fell out of that real quickly, like within like the first few hours of the game. It's not, I wouldn't like blame the game's fault or anything like that. It's probably just because like it didn't really vibe with me, so it's why I feel so incredibly indifferent. I mean, either, I mean, Epics and Eggman over here most likely haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, am I right?
Oh, nope.
So you guys are going in and just solely on the perspective of the mechanics of the game and how they, how they would fight.
Oh yeah, like I wouldn't be able to meta-analyze the frame data and be like, oh, this moves from this game and this is why it's important. This is, I'm so happy they added this instead of that. I don't do that. That's too much for me. I'm not
That's
like
just nitpicking at its finest right there.
This is like I'm basing my opinion off of playing Smash and what I like from Smash, not necessarily on the Xenoblade side. Like I'm sure there are people that do appreciate Pyrrha being in the game because they're fans of Xenoblade. But I'm more so looking from Smash perspective. What's new? What's fresh? Like shake up the game, bring some life back into it. It's been in decline for a while, especially with the disappointing releases and not just disappointing for me, but like in general, like not well received overall because of the swordsman controversy. But in the end, I'm still just gonna spam Luigi, so it doesn't matter.
Hey, Luigi.
Bowser all day, man.
All right, so just like everyone else has their opinions, let's just fantasize a little bit here and talk about who we would want in Smash. Who's your guilty pleasure?
Yeah, I would want Master Chief, Doom Guy, or Crash. It's like one of the three of them
I
comes
said
in.
pick one. I said who?
Well,
Singular,
then
man.
Master Chief. Let's
Have
go.
your cake and
That's
eat it
wishful
too.
thinking, but that's I
Hey,
go for Master
it's
Chief.
fine. It's good to have multiple choices because if one of them doesn't get picked, then the other one might.
Yeah,
My go-to
exactly.
guy who doesn't get much love but is loved everywhere, Bob Ross. Let's get Bob Ross in the game, dude. Imagine that painter that's gonna go against all the Inklings. He's gonna whoop their ass. I can just imagine his down B, like he paints a whole castle.
We didn't specify video game character.
Well, we're
He was
not.
like, I want
Who cares?
Bob Ross.
Yeah, we didn't specify, so I'm going with Bob Ross. Nah, I'm just kidding. But on a serious note, if I had to go out there and pick a character, I'm gonna go with Tails.
Tails? Why
Tails, yeah. I mean, Sonic gets a lot of love. I don't know if there even is a trophy for Tails or any Tails gets any love, but Tails has always been a loved character in the show. I mean, his up B, everybody knows what it is, the propeller tail. But I'm pretty sure he's a scientist, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna have like different types of moves. You know how Riley, I think his name
Riley,
is.
yeah.
How he has his like side B and he like dashes at you and drags you and like smashes you.
Right.
So I feel like Tails would probably be like that, but instead it's a jet that just randomly appears and like tackles you. That'd be pretty dope. It's kind of be like
It's like Wario's motorcycle.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So,
but he can use the Sonic Adventure 2.
The tornado or whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Plane.
And yeah, he could be an overall well-loved character. And my second choice of all time would be Shy Guy.
Shy Guy. This guy wants Shy Guy in there.
Shy Guy. The colors would be simple, but it'd be like a dope-ass character. And he would have a healing mechanic where he would just, down B and drop some fruit. You can throw it at people, pick it up, and heal yourself.
His up B will be he get like a little propeller on his head, or like was it on his back? Or his side B or his regular B is like he puts on the black mask with the big cannon coming out of the mouth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just shoots like a little like black cannonballs or something.
Yeah. If that does happen, I want to see Final Smash be him taking off his mask and them doing like a side view of someone seeing his real face and then just dying instantly.
That's what Epic just said.
Is that what it was? Oh man. But yeah, for me, I still can't believe Steve beat out Crash Bandicoot. That felt that was a shoe win.
Steve is a swordsman, isn't he?
Steve's from Minecraft.
He has a sword.
No, I know, but I'm saying he's a swordsman. He has a sword. Does he use it to fight?
Yeah,
he does, right?
Yeah.
He does. So technically
he's a swordsman.
He's a swordsman. Nintendo trolled us with another swordsman and no one knew. They're like, it's just Minecraft Steve. It's like, nope. Swordsman.
Minecraft Steve is literally like, instead of a character, I see him more of a PR than like an actual character, because Nintendo and Microsoft have been very buddy as of recently, and especially like the year after the Switch came out. So instead of being more of a character in obviously a popular video game that's being represented, I see this more of a whole, as in the Nintendo and Microsoft both telling the world like, hey guys, we're actually in this together, and we're gonna bring out more content with Microsoft and Nintendo coming out together. So just stay tuned. Here's Steve for now. This is the tip of the iceberg kind of thing, you know?
And then if Master Chief comes in, we know Halo's going to be on the Switch.
Oh, dude, if they bring Halo on the Switch, they have to bring, like, the first thing they have to bring is that the what is it, the anniversary, the
Yeah.
first Halo anniversary.
I'll be stuck on Halo 3. I won't even care about the new Halo.
Anniversary is the first
Halo
one.
3 is my game, man.
The
After
Master
that,
Chief Collection is the one that comes with all of them, but Halo
know,
Anniversary
I
is the
know.
one that comes with this, just the first one.
Oh,
Okay.
so they got to bring all of them.
So if I had to pick someone to be in Smash, my guilty pleasure would be Pudge from Dota 2.
Which is
So way off, man. Going
just
from
grab, he
console to
just throws a
PC.
hook.
Just he's my guy.
Yeah, actually,
he's-
that side B would be broken. Because you know how everyone has like their side Bs, and you know it's kind of like Link's grab, where he can
The
like
grappling
grab
hook?
the ledge. I think, right?
Yeah, I'm
So
thinking that.
I could just imagine like if you're falling away and you know you can't make it even if you up B, you side
just
B and your
hook.
chains like, and then it like you know he chains himself and he pulls himself and he lands and he doesn't die, dude. People would be going crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
dude,
the funnest
I
part
would say like his.
is just thinking of movesets for these characters. But I like I have a hard time with that one. But I just love Pudge so much. He's one of the most popular characters in Dota 2, and uh, I for those who don't know, MOBAs take about an average of 45 minutes to an hour. I have 1,600 games off the top of my head played with this guy.
That's it.
1,600 is a lot. I played over
I know.
4,000 matches. So, but you know, that's just the fun part: speculating, making fun, playing fun.
But let's
yeah.
be real here. Like if you were to pick a mascot or like this character, just one character to represent Dota, like without just guilty pleasure part, who do you think
It'd be Pudge.
No, it's Juggernaut.
I Juggernaut for sure. Like definitely Juggernaut. Yeah.
Yeah, he's another swordsman. Yeah, something about these swordsmen.
Watch him have a counter too.
Oh, shut up. No. All
right. So let's next news of the Nintendo Direct that we had. So we got Fall Guys coming to the Switch. You know, this might bring a little bit of mixed feelings for some people, obviously because of the fact that is the game still relevant? You know, I personally think that the Fall Guys might actually be a little bit too late to the party. But what makes it a lot more special is that it's obviously because it's on the go, and also the fact that it's accessible to another group of audience. But at the end of the day, you know, is the game still relevant? Is it still, you know, something that, you know, is hot currently? Like, you know, like after Fall Guys, Among Us came in. So what it seems like a little trend with Nintendo as well, that some games that are trendy or some games that that gain a lot of attention that are either like indie, the Nintendo's pretty late on the scene when it comes to releasing on their platform. What do you guys think about this?
Well, I actually really liked Fall Guys. And I remember playing it for a few months with a few friends. I'd say the biggest problem is that the type of game it is, you know, quick party game, 10 minutes if you want, you know, one or two games. It is great, you know, and especially with the culture, you know, because of coronavirus, the streaming culture, the boom of Twitch and live streaming, really put Fall Guys on the map. So it was a lot of people, you know, just having fun with the game, and it had a huge player base to start. But eventually, you know, as these things do, fads, they end. So, you know, they're still healthy in terms of a game. You know, they got an active player base, and by moving to the Switch, you know, they only get more. But I don't think it'll have the long-term success that you know, warrants a port to the Switch. It was already on PC, and it was a PS4 exclusive for a few months. In regards to consoles, I think that the reason that we're getting it on the Switch so late is probably because they had some sort of exclusivity deal with Sony, which is why it was free for like that first month on PSN. So that's my take. I think that it could be successful. I mean, you have a new market in terms of kids, you know, like let's be real, a lot of people who own the Switch are kids. And the party, I'm not saying it's a kid game, but you know, those party style how do you say? I guess like the Mario Party kind of games. They tend to be
Party like what?
party
Like I
games.
would
I don't know.
party
Yeah.
games? Yeah.
It wouldn't
So
be. The only issue with Fall Guys for me is that you can't play multiple players on one screen. So if they had
And
that,
I think
if they
oh
had that
yeah, that's right.
capability, if they had that capability of doing that, then it would be the best thing to bring it on the Switch.
mhm.
Um,
And I think you really did hit the nail on the board when it comes to the exclusivity deal. The thing with Fall Guys is that's exactly the reason why it didn't come out on PC and other consoles is because they
It did come out on
sign.
PC.
I mean, it didn't come out on PC until later, like
Mm,
about a weekish later, and then they sold it for $20. Initially, it was free on PlayStation Plus, and I did read somewhere that PlayStation, when they do want to sign an exclusivity deal or release it on their platform as a free what is it, like a free month game or something like that, then they pay out the company. They pay out the company like a certain $1 million, and whatever revenue they make just goes solely to Sony or PlayStation or what's the name? The Sony Interactive Entertainment. There we go. SIE.
right, but we're
But yeah,
talking about a re-release on PC a week later, so you say, versus 9 months later for the Switch.
right, right,
Um,
but that's always been the Switch's issue. They always bring in things super late
right.
after people have already got their fill of it.
it
Yeah,
might kind of
and for this reason, I'm actually not sure as to why Switch is like extra late to the game because like you said, like a week later it came out on the PC. As for Nintendo Switch, like months later it came out, and we just said, like, is this game still like relevant or whatever? But at this point,
Can you
I'm not too sure as to why Nintendo waited this long. I mean,
can you do
especially after
crossplay
releasing.
with Fall Guys?
what's that?
No,
Can you
Yeah.
repeat it?
No, I'm asking
he
if
asked if
you
we can do crossplay.
crossplay.
Yeah, if PC
That,
can't crossplay, then I
No,
don't think Nintendo Switch can.
yeah,
no.
Yeah,
that's gonna make it a big issue then. If they had crossplay, then it wouldn't be such a bad thing.
right. And Fall Guys is one of the games that you can actually have that exception of cross playing. I mean, Among Us did fine with that. The issue, like when it comes to like stuff like Call of Duty or Fortnite, right? Like when people play on the PC, they have a significant advantage with their what is it? Their
Mouse and keyboard.
the controller and stuff like that, and the mouse and keyboard. But I mean, Fall Guys and Among Us just don't really need that. But I'm pretty sure Among Us is not. I mean, not Among Us. Fall Guys is not going to be cross platform.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because most of these games that are cross-platform, they have usually a login type base like Blizzard
Right,
and
right.
Some
Activision
sort of account.
and yeah, some sort of account, and that's also what's missing from Among Us, I feel. Um, moving on to that, it was late to the Switch. It's still a free game, which makes it viable, but what what where it lacks is the fact that you can't do what you can on PC or on your phone because on the phone you can buy everything and you'll play it on the PC and it'll be there too, but for the Switch it's not gonna be there. And I feel like
Right.
that's probably what some people are missing is that account to be able to like change accounts. And then but what I think the only problem with that would be that having to select your name, and I feel like a lot of people like the aspect of being able to call yourself
So
whatever you want every game.
Right.
the real problem then comes from just the accessibility issue for Switch owners, right? Because if you take ports or remakes that get released on the Switch at a later time, such as the Crash trilogy or the Spyro trilogy, they they're good ports because not everyone would have had access to those games when they first came out, and two, when they were released on their home console. So, for example, you have a PlayStation owner who bought the Crash trilogy. They're not going to buy it on the Switch, right? It's not a multiplayer game. It's not anything different from the PS4. So why would I buy it, right? But if a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, is hearing of this Crash Bandicoot that everybody wants in Smash, and is like, oh, who's that? Oh, I'll play his game, but
Yeah.
they don't have a PS4, which I know is hard to believe in 2020, or 2021, sorry. But if you don't have a PS4, you're SOL, so you gotta work with what you got, and I think that's the that's the main focus of these re-releases to the Switch. But that being said, Fall Guys does it. I don't think that it was that big or I want to say it's not big. It did blow up, only to be replaced by Among Us. But I don't think it has that lasting power to hold a shelf life on the Switch.
No, probably
Right.
not.
Right. And I do want to like a little bring up a little bit of a subtopic here. Is that why is that? Why is it that you guys think that Nintendo is always late to the scene when it comes to these types of hot games or just like major releases like you just said, like with Crash and Spyro? Like, why is that?
I think it's probably just the capabilities of the games when they are brought over to PlayStation or Xbox or the Switch isn't capable of doing what they can do, so they have to pretty much downgrade the game to fit for.
Talking about compatibility, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why there's so
compatibility.
many games that you're never gonna see on the Switch, just because there's too much data on these discs. You know, there's too much data on these discs that won't fit on a Switch cartridge until
Right.
they finally figure out how to make it fit and for the Switch to be able to process it. And of course, that's what everybody's hoping for with this, the rumored Switch Pro coming out or whatever it's gonna be called.
Yeah, they said they were going to have a major announcement regarding, or not major announcement, but what is it? Like a lot of the exclusives, like Mario. What is it? Mario All Stars and like Fire Emblem and stuff like that, are like all stopping, or like their release date, or your time that you're given to download or purchase the game like stops at like March 13th or 15th or something like that, and people think that like some big announcements coming in around that time, and like you said, they might announce the Switch Pro or something, you know.
So the reason why I think Nintendo is always late to the party or tends to fall short of its competitors is because they're still stuck in the old mindset of localization in terms of Japan. And I know that's changing a little bit, but you have the higher ups in Nintendo still having that mindset where they don't want to dip their toes in something that is out there, right? For example, take the Smash tournaments that have been shut down. Even the ones that don't use the modded games like Project M, uh, all of it shut down, right? Why would Nintendo go against their own dedicated user base and cancel tournaments, sue certain creators and hosts just because they're using their IP, right? You'd want
Mm-hmm.
that kind of attention, right? But it's this mindset that it slows down the progress of all the other aspects of what we like about Nintendo, like the third-party games, the internet accessibility, the uh, just the functionality of the Switch with modern titles like these ports. They're not gonna be running on the same frame rate or on the same graphical level as the other console ports, right? And while Nintendo has made a lot of success utilizing new features, such as the nunchucks for the Wii, and in this case, the Switch being portable and at-home console, like they're being successful with these gimmicks. But at some point, you're gonna run out of gimmicks, and you just need the staying power of something like the PS5 or the Xbox Series X, right? The Switch just will never compare.
I was just gonna add to the whole um thing about Nintendo being late to the game, and I was just gonna say that maybe they're just cocky. Like they're so confident in what they do have coming out that they're like, yeah, sure, we'll take these games late. We don't care. People are still gonna buy them. People are still gonna love them because these games are iconic, pretty much. You got Spyro, you got Crash. You know, these
On one
games,
of the
I love these games. I grew up with these games, but I would never play them on my PlayStation because there's so many games that the PlayStation can play that look so beautiful that they just take up my time. And you know me, once I get on my PlayStation, I'm all about COD.
right.
So something that I can just sit and relax and chill, back away from my TV.
So I know you
Especially
bought
now.
BioShock for both, right?
Yeah. And BioShock, I love it on the Switch. But that's also like that goes over to one of the games that just looks beautiful on the PlayStation. Yeah, that game I'm always gonna want to play on the PlayStation over Crash or Spyro. So it's good that they bring it over, even if it is late. I don't care. I'm still gonna get the game.
Yeah, but as soon
Mm-hmm.
as they have an update for Call of Duty, you have to delete all your other games, right?
And exactly why I'm not gonna be able to play those games on the PlayStations. I prefer them on the Switch.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't call it
Mm-hmm.
cockiness. I would call it more so of shoot, tip of the tongue. I just had it. It's not cockiness. It's just pure confidence in
Yeah,
their system. You know,
yeah,
don't if
of
it's
course.
not broken, don't fix it.
Exactly, and they're pretty much saying, yeah, you got all these amazing consoles out there, but
It, I mean, like
just
you
because
said,
our console is not capable of doing some of the things that yours is, we have all our exclusives, and people still love the games that you already have on your system, and they're still getting it on ours.
right? I mean, like you said, like if it ain't broken, then don't fix it. Like how long do you think that would go for? You know, like we have Splatoon 2 that like runs on Windows 98 or something because of how old Nintendo's internet or their internet services, their servers.
Like I said, we shouldn't expect change from Nintendo, and I think that the answer to your question will be forever. I think they can keep this up because it's like Epic said, they're just gonna flock to Nintendo because one, it's Nintendo, and the gimmicks are working with the consoles. So if you can get like a new device accessible to the masses, it's gonna be successful. And if you have these developers that want to be released on the best-selling console, um, if, in regards to Nintendo, multiple times with the DS and the Switch, uh, people are just gonna get it. I mean, Nintendo doesn't have to make good games anymore. They don't. The developers are gonna flock to Nintendo just because they've been the best-selling consoles. When the consoles hit, they hit well. So as I was saying, they don't have to try to make good games anymore because um, you threw out any Zelda game and it sold. And Breath of the Wild was the best one they released in over a decade. So you know that I think that's an exception to the rule, right? Because how many Mario games that did they release that missed the mark? When was the last time they released a Metroid game, right? Or another first party title that was actually critically acclaimed. But now you have on the Switch all these indie games like this year or the last year as well,
Flooded with them.
flooded. Well, not only flooded, but a lot of the games I would want to buy a Switch for are indie games. Um, Hollow Knight indie game. Those games like Super Meat Boy. I know that one's an older one, but a lot of these good games are coming from indie developers. But it's that exposure catch 22. As an indie developer, I'm gonna go to Nintendo and be like, I want you to release my game on your console, and they're gonna look at me and be like, no, right? Money talks. So you go to this giant Nintendo and you ask them to release your game for you, and you don't have a choice, right? To accept their terms. But on the bright side, you get that exposure, and sure enough, you get games like Hollow Knight and Shovel Knight. Uh,
Yeah,
you know,
Super Meat Boy, or
yeah,
what's
that
his
one's
name?
a lot older though. Yeah. Um, what was that? Cadence of Hyrule? That wasn't made by them, but man, that game is good. Musical
Hmm.
Zelda game. You know, and it's interesting because you can take away the Zelda element and it'll still be a good game. But just because it has Zelda on its name, or Hyrule technically, uh, it gets that much more out of being on a Nintendo console and being a Nintendo IP, but it's not a Nintendo game. So I think that as long as that continues, Nintendo doesn't have to try to do anything. The Switch is becoming the portable version of Steam in
Portable
regards to
version
indie
of Steam,
games.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. Let's move on to the next topic of Direct. We're going to be talking about Pokemon Direct that came out or that was revealed, and the three games that came along with it, which is the new trailer we got for Pokemon Snap, and Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes, Shiny Pearl and Brilliant Diamond, or the other way around, and Pokemon Arceus. So I know Epix over here has a very strong feelings for Pokemon Snap. So why don't you tell us what you think?
Oh, dude, I'm in love with the game already.
Hmm.
It first of all, it makes me feel so nostalgic from the fact that I never had a Nintendo 64. So I never actually got to own Pokemon Snap. So every time I would go to my cousin's house, that's when I would play it. And it was such a great time, the concept of it alone is amazing, putting yourself in Pokemon's natural habitat. And back in the day, they were only able to do so much, and with all the new ideas and new different concepts that have been created in the past. What? How many years has it been?
At least
I don't
20.
know. When was
I would
when,
say.
It's been years,
when
so
did
many
it come
years
out?
that the graphics alone aren't the only thing that I'm looking forward to. I'm looking for all the hidden paths and all the secrets that they're gonna be having in the game. They showed the apple and they showed the illumination balls, and I can only imagine like so many different things that you're gonna be able to do with that. I'm hoping for
Mhm.
Pokemon
shiny
Snap came
Pokemon.
out on March of 20. I'm sorry, March 21st.
20,
I said March 21st,
1999.
1999. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
insane.
1999,
Oh, we're old,
22
guys.
years, man.
We're
22
old.
years
Mhm.
ago.
Yeah.
That there's so much more that they can do with that game, and I'm sure that they're gonna they're gonna hit the fan with it. They're gonna blow everybody's minds with that game. And
I mean, yeah. I mean, we did. They added, what is it? I'm not sure if they exactly added a day and night cycle to the game, but there were instances in
They
the
did.
trailer
Yeah, that's
where, oh,
confirmed.
so they did 100% sure. Okay. So then, I mean, adding day and night cycles to the game, I mean, there's going to be daytime version of this place or nighttime, or hell, there might be even like, oh, something, there might be something where you can do in the afternoon. Like, what's that Pokemon's name? Lycanroc or whatever. Like, oh, and if you hit him with a luminous ball at like daytime, he'll evolve, or if it's like the afternoon, he'll become like the Twilight form, or if it's nighttime, he'll evolve. Like, like those gimmicks like that.
Transform
I
a
know they're going to do
Pokemon.
something like that.
oh yeah, no doubt they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking
We can
forward to.
only
Just
like
just
dream
whatever.
of the craziness.
Hey, yeah, exactly. Whatever your wildest thought that you can think about what they can do with Pokemon, they probably are gonna do it.
Yeah, that would be good. That'd be good.
And
Um,
yeah, I'm very excited to see the night and day cycles, because it just in one level you can have so many different types of Pokemon come out. But the one thing for sure that I'm looking forward to is the underwater level. Oh my god.
mhm.
Oh my god, that's gonna be so beautiful. All the Pokemon, all the water Pokemon. Shoot, I wouldn't even be surprised if they bring out legendaries more
Oh,
than
they
they did
definitely
in the
are going to
first.
bring
Yeah,
legendaries.
yeah,
I
but I'm
bet
saying
you.
like it's gonna be so hard to find the legendary because they're gonna make so many
Because
secret
there's so
paths and
many now too.
so exactly so many different things that you can do, so many little gimmicks that you have to actually do to unlock it for it to come out because I'm sure it's gonna be like an Easter egg that you have to pretty much unlock. If you throw an apple here, a luminescent ball here, exact time of this and that, and boom, what's his name? Kyogre? Ky Ky
Kyogre.
Kyogre.
Kyogre comes out and you
Kyogre.
know
Kyogre.
Kyogre comes out and
You
like
had it.
and just like blows your mind,
Eats
like
you.
probably like
Eat
makes
you
you go
whole.
into nah, it just like blows you away and has you go into a separate path. And just that that alone is something to look forward to.
It's
Hmm.
funny that we're so excited about this day and night cycle, but just because the first one was Generation One only, and Night Cycle wasn't introduced until Gold and Silver. So
Hmm.
it just totally slips your mind because you don't really think about that. Because it's only the second installment in that series, 22 years later. But there's so much
Right.
they can add, and
So
there's only
much.
so
There's a
much you can.
colossal amount of things you can add.
A
You know,
colossal amount.
Oh my god. Can we cut that out? Can we? We're gonna
Oh,
cut that out.
No, no, no.
that
That's
was
staying
good.
in.
Yeah, geez,
Yeah.
jerk. Uh, but yeah, there's only so much we can speculate from a trailer. But I'm really excited. But let's move on to the remakes or the Switch adaptations for Diamond and Pearl.
Brilliant, brilliant diamond and shining pearl. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I what is it? The game looks, I would say, just like a 3D pop-up version
Yeah.
of the original Diamond and Pearl. I mean, it's just, I mean, obviously it looks a lot
Think
prettier, but it's
think
at the
Link's
end of the day, it's not
Awakening.
like, yeah, Link's
Link's
Awakening
Awakening
to the
or
actual Link's. Yeah,
mm,
yeah, exactly. The only difference
I
is,
uh-huh. Go ahead,
I'm just
Taco.
saying, the only difference is one's just Pokemon and the other one's just Zelda.
Oh
So.
yeah, no doubt. My one and only complaint about the game is the way that your character looks, how the people look. They look it's not for me. They look too cartoony and I'm not a fan of it.
Were you talking about how like original Pokemon, there's like little sprites in the world, or like little chubby sprites or whatever?
No, I'm talking about the actual people. I'm not talking about the Pokemon.
He says that they're going into the Uncanny Valley. The Uncanny Valley is usually when something that's not real starts to look too real, right?
Hmm.
But when you that's usually in regards to non-humanoid things. But in this case, we know what the sprites look like, and obviously they're sprites, so they're not going to look like the 3D models in the previous Pokemon games. But now they're kind of going backwards. They're reverting to non-humanoid looking characters in the sense where the facial features don't add up. And I know it's anime style, Pokemon with the facial structure and all that, but now they're starting to look like Nendroids and or Funko Pops.
Oh, I
And
see what you mean.
it looks
Right.
off because you've had all
Yeah.
these 3D models for years, and now all of a sudden we're getting a 3D Pokemon game, but they don't look like people.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I get what he's saying.
And what is it? The studio making the remakes? I forgot what their name was, but they're the ones that made Pokemon Home or something. Let me look that up real quick. What?
Yeah,
is
but
the
outside of
name?
that, I'm looking forward to the game. I love the originals. I'm pretty sure just like anyone else. Only thing about it, and maybe it's an issue for some people, and it's a topic for discussion. How much do you think that they're gonna stick to the original story, and how much do you think that they're gonna stick to the same Pokemon that everyone had? Because the problem with Diamond and Pearl was there wasn't enough fire Pokemon, and
there's just like two.
You can't have a gym leader and you can't have an
Fire
Elite
gym
Four
leader.
member. Exactly, you can't have these people with fire types, but not actually have fire types Pokemon because there's only 2 Pokemon in that game that were fire.
And that was
Which is
Shincha and Ponyta, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And Heat Turn
which
doesn't
is
count.
Yeah.
These post game.
No, this whole Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl also is very interesting because this is the first Pokemon game, mainline series and remakes included, that was not developed by Game Freak, and it's done by Ilka Inc. And the reason why Game Freak isn't doing it is because they're going to be working on what's that game, the Pokemon Arceus. So whatever this new company, Ilka Inc. Did I pronounce that correctly? Ilka Inc. That's being in charge of making Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. We'll see what they're completely capable of in this game. But
just one thing I wanted to cover for the Diamond and Pearl remakes before we move on. So one of the things that I don't want is for it to be a carbon copy. I wanted to get the Heart Gold Soul Silver treatment where they fix the glaring issues of the game while adding obviously more content, new content, and fixing bugs and stuff.
Like how they added the flying. Speaking of
yeah,
pacing, one thing that they had an issue with too was the damage that was dealt. So let's say late game you had a Blissey with 700 health. It would literally take 20 seconds for that Blissey to die if it gets one-shotted rather than just one hit KO. Automatic health goes down.
That was one of the
it literally
issues.
would be yeah, exactly. So that would be probably something that they need to fix too.
That was horrible.
Yeah, you're literally sitting there for 20 seconds waiting for the health to go down.
And
just
you're
so
hoping that there's 1 HP left. And it never is.
Yeah, it left you with that little bit of hope, but at the same time, you're just sitting there dreading the seconds ticking away while your Pokemon health is slowly dwindling.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, the Sinnoh region was one of my favorite regions, and I hope they bring in the whole concept of going to the other dimension.
Oh, the distortion world or whatever with Giratina. Yeah.
That should be an auto include.
Definitely. I mean, did they add they did add the Rayquaza story, right? What do they call that for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire? It was like episode Delta or something like that. So yeah, and they even added a bunch of more to that. Like they introduced a completely new character, and they added like a whole storyline to that. So that was good. That was good.
Yeah. So the one thing I really do want to see from those games is a higher difficulty curve. I don't want it to be like Sword and Shield where it holds your
right.
Well, if they're gonna put an easy mode, I want a hard mode. If you're gonna give me an easy mode, also give me a hard mode. If, for example, like one, I hope that Ilka Inc. is gonna balance the game more in that regard than Game Freak would, because I'm not sure how familiar you all are with Pokemon emulations and fan games, but I've seen a few speedruns of those fan made games. Tip of the tongue, Taco, you know a few, right? Zerk,
like with the Pokemon Uranium or something.
Yeah, Uranium.
Pokemon Black.
The one that got canceled. Yeah, these people, very talented
mm-hmm.
people. They're huge Pokemon fans. They go on and find the parts of the game that need balancing, and they make a new game where that gives the Pokemon fan, well, the hardcore Pokemon fans what they want. A really hard mode. Um, you know, really popular for Nuzlocking. And for those who don't know, Nuzlocking is a specific set of rules when you play a Pokemon game where you have to catch the first Pokemon on the route. There's permadeath, so you can't have a Pokemon faint and use it again. And there's no overleveling for the next gym battle. So you have to play the game at the cap for that gym. Makes it a lot harder, but that's a self-imposed challenge. I want that natively in the game where you can set the rules for how hard the game's going to be for you instead of just holding your hand the whole way. But yeah, in regards to Arceus, though, at Pokemon Breath of the Wild.
And which is they're very well capable of doing that because they do that with Fire Emblem.
Just thinking
remember?
that.
I'm sorry, what was that, Taco?
They're very well capable of doing that because they did it in Fire Emblem, like the what is it? Ever since Awakening, like they have an option to change it to like permadeath or casual or classic or something.
Oh yeah,
permadeath was the standard.
Everything
else was
Emblem,
baby hands.
They also did that with Link's Awakening. There's the hard mode where enemies don't drop hearts. So if you're damaged, you pretty much have to go find a fairy or.
See, that well, I guess it's just because we're getting older, and those games don't pose the same amount of challenge to us as they did when we were kids. So that could be it too. Like maybe I was a dum dum. I was like, I'm gonna send my fire type against a Gyarados. Yeah, I'll totally win this.
Giving yourself your own challenges.
Yeah. But as we were saying about the Arceus trailer, that looked beautiful. But it's hard to deny. They just look like they copy pasted the Breath of the Wild trailer.
Well,
have you seen the side by side comparison?
the way like it's like right behind, like the camera's like right behind them, and it like zooms out into the landscape or whatever.
That's any open world game. A lot of open world games, just because they look similar to each other, because there's a lot of grass. A lot of open world games do that.
Too much grass.
They show. Well, I mean, it's back in the old days, where there wasn't that much technology and there wasn't development like that, because Sinnoh region was what years before Diamond and Pearl. So they're going back to more of a simple, game without all these cities being there. Keeping the Pokemon in natural habitats without them having to what's it called? Develop a new sense of living because the world of Pokemon became a city for people.
So you could say it's like the Pokemon Go without the going.
Yeah, but I completely agree that it's pretty much Pokemon Breath of the Wild. But even saying that, Breath of the Wild was an amazing game, so I wouldn't doubt that this is going to be an amazing game. I'm looking forward to the next direct where they tell us exactly how it's going to work. We're catching Pokemon and the whole Pokemon battles.
And someone's going to find some glitch since they're just reusing Zelda's assets to just fling yourself across the map using a Tyranitar or something. Throws you across the map.
Well, one thing, I think there's a Dragon Ball Z game where you can fly as Kakarot and you can literally like fly around as if it's free world. So I wouldn't doubt that they want to do that with
Budokai 3?
No, it was Kakarot. Like,
no, even before Kakarot, there's
Budokai 3.
But
anyway.
I can only like how they did it in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, how you can fly on your Charizard or fly on any type of flying Pokemon that can, where you're riding them. I wouldn't doubt that they would do something like that where you could just literally fly into the air and just
Can you do the sound again?
I'll do that sound when I'm flying with the Pokemon too, I don't care. But I'm looking forward to see what else they have to bring. I like the fact that you could just throw Pokeballs at Pokemon and capture them. I like the sneaking around and not having to battle these Pokemon.
You can sneak past them. That's right. That's like one of the things that like they added. Well, you can technically sneak around some Pokemon in what is it? Ever since Sun and Moon or whatever, like where you like tippy toeing the grass. Or was that in like X and Y? I don't remember. It's like one or the other or both.
I think it was in both.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, enough about Pokemon. Just like anybody else, a lot of us came in to gaming when all these new consoles were even becoming a thing, and one of the most popular ones, obviously Nintendo, coming out with Mario, and we all grew up playing Mario. Luigi fan forever, but whatever. That's why the game started getting called Mario Brothers instead of just Mario because Mario's overrated. Just kidding. Don't attack me for that, please.
They're gonna
What
get his
about you?
butt
So
kicked.
so 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 Taco, let's start with you. What's your favorite
Luigi
Mario
Gang
game?
Rise Up.
My favorite Mario game would have been, yeah, that spit my tongue right there. My favorite Mario game is definitely Super Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins.
Okay.
And one of the big reasons why I love that a lot is because they introduced Wario in that game for the first time, and Wario is like by far my favorite Nintendo character ever, and I love all of the games that he came out with, like WarioWare, Wario Land. So I
Yeah,
gotta
Wario Land
say,
was super cool. What would be the one complaint that you have about that game?
um, nothing really. Like if I were to choose, like that game didn't really have a linear path. I mean that's me just like nitpicking too. So
Yeah.
the game didn't have a linear path. Like the whole world is available to you, and you can choose which boss to fight first and whatever. So it
So,
really
so
was.
what, so what you're
Like Mega
saying
Man.
is, that Pokemon, not Pokemon, Mario was open world before it was cool.
Technically,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
And I remember specifically, like, what is it? There's a level where you go inside like a giant whale, and it's like the diversity of the levels were like amazing. So there's one level where you go inside a giant whale, like Pinocchio style, and there's a level where you're basically like in the sky, like in the tree, but like in the sky at the same time, and you're like trying to go through bunch of tree branches, and there's like ants and stuff. Or there's another level where you're like in the three little the what is it, the three little pigs or whatever, the three pigs, and they have like, and then they're like each of their own bosses, and you fight them at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that really bothered me about that game was it was so good that I was convinced it wasn't a Mario game just because of how it looked and how it played. I was like, no, this is fake. This is one of those games from overseas or something. One of those ROM hacks. But no, I do have memories of playing that game and I was impressed in the direction they took it. Um,
It was so hard.
so yeah,
it was
it was.
super
Such a
hard,
hard
especially
game.
trying to fight
Or
Wario.
maybe
I
we were
think
just bad.
he had like 2 phases or something when you like fight Wario. That's like almost something you never see in like a Mario game, is phases through a boss fight. All right. Well, what about you, Epics? What's your favorite Mario game?
My favorite Mario game of all time has got to be Superstar Saga, man.
Hell yeah.
RPG wasn't necessarily open world, but it sure felt like it sometimes, even though it had a very linear path. Um, I'm saying it's a little bit open world because you had options. You didn't have to go for certain items right away. As in,
Like a
the
sandbox
pieces.
game.
No, yeah, exactly. Like it's a start. Like you have to get star pieces. And one thing that I liked about it is that it brought a whole bunch of new concepts to Mario. It wasn't just a platformer, what people were used to. And I think that the game itself was beautiful. Everything about it was super fun, very funny game. Interactions with characters were hilarious. Obviously the introduction of all these new characters. Maybe not so iconic characters, but very lovable ones, like Fawful or Fawful.
Wow.
Fawful was hilarious. And just the dynamic of the whole game was a sight to see, and I'm looking forward to when they bring that game to the Switch.
Can
Whether
we
it
also
be
talk about?
whether
Yeah,
whether whether it be a port with all 5 games being brought back for $60, I'll pay that, or whether it's a brand new
That's
game.
a steal.
yeah.
Right?
Can we can
Exactly.
we can
So
we talk about like how goofy that game was too? Like it was so cartoony and goofy. Like
that's what I'm talking about. That's why I love it.
yeah,
Just like I
It
said, like
goes
the whole
back.
new
Yeah.
concepts of the way the fighting style, RPG status, and the like I said, the interactions between Mario and Luigi and some of the combo attacks that they had were some of my favorite things about the game. Especially when you would mess up and you accidentally hit B too early when Mario is trying to hit Luigi on the head with the hammer, and the hammer, breaks off and he hits him, and then he smacks him in the butt, and Luigi's just like running forward, and then they're just like the whole time they're every time you would mess up, they actually like turn around and like "Ugh," and like get pissed off at each other, and it's the funniest thing ever. funniest thing ever. I gotta admit that.
See,
Can
that's
we
what
also
happens
talk about like in the beginning of the game where like when you're taking like passport photos or whatever? Like
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Yeah, where
like
you can like make
you
faces.
press the right button, you can make faces. I love that game,
Dude. So
all right.
amazing.
Thank Alpha Dream
All
for
right.
that.
So what's your favorite Mario game, Eggman?
All right. So my favorite Mario game by default is Super Mario World. It's the first Mario game I ever played. It was at the time one of the biggest Mario games ever released, and there was just so much depth to not depth, but like
No, wait, there was a lot of depth. There was a lot of secrets. For
well,
sure.
I mean, yeah, the secrets is what I meant. Like, and obviously it was you can break the game if you were mechanically gifted enough, if you knew the ins and outs of the frame data, and do some crazy tricks. But for the time, the world was just so huge, and it just felt like I never really finished it until like years later, and it was always so good to go back to because the levels are just really good, and especially once you hit the star road and the difficulty increases tenfold, like
Isn't that when they brought in Yoshi for the first time too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super Mario World is when they brought Yoshi.
It's iconic, right? So
yeah, very.
It set the standard for.
And then had like the
Mario
different.
I want to say, I want to. People argue that it was obviously Super Mario Brothers, but no, that Super Mario World took Super Mario Brothers and turned it on its head and perfected it, in my opinion. So
Definitely. All right. We are unfortunately talk more about the Mario discussion, but we are out of time today. So we will be doing this podcast bi-weekly. And so if you guys have any suggestions on what we should talk about as our like weekly or bi-weekly topic, just give us the suggestion in the comments or anywhere that we decided to post this. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and see you in the next 2 weeks.
Don't forget to check out the new Dota anime March 25th on Netflix. Not sponsored. # not sponsored.
Kanpai!
All right, here's good night. Kanpai.
Kanpai.